All right, so people are really, really dumb about AI these days, and I think the biggest thing that people are missing, we're looking at this one right here, right? Uh, People just use inspect element, right? So, uh, yeah, you use inspect element, you open it up, you can go in and you can edit things, you can like target, um, yeah, and we can go in here and edit text. Finally edit it. Um, uh, AI, it's inspect element. See, that's the problem. So it's like if you look at these screenshots, um, you can like make people think anything, and that's also the problem with uh something such as what was the one that Microsoft? What were they calling it? The flashback. The uh the Microsoft take a screenshot every 10 seconds and then feed it into an AI. No, wait, we totally reversed that. JK. Also, they bought BattleNet, which is pretty fucking absurd, right? And they have like Call of Duty pushed as well and Halo, and they got tons of government money their entire career. Like, they're these people have a lot of money. And then you have them out here trying to like front run and convince you that you should take a small amount of money, or trying to uh you know create you through recommendations, right? There's this algorithm, right? You could anthropomorphize it, and in a way it does kind of in the way of Mitt Romney's corporations are people, my friend. It's like these algorithms, which people are kind of anthropomorphizing through the concept of AI. So like AI workers essentially, or what algorithms you could call that if you're like being really like weird, right? If you're being super nerdy. It's like, wow, every one of these algorithms is like an AI worker. It's like no longer does a human have to file these by hand. You know what I mean? Like think you're like from like the 1970s. You know what I mean? Like so it's nothing particularly like new, but also it is, right? So these people, these companies, their algorithms, which are people ostensibly, the people that design the algorithms, right? And then, further any training that the algorithm does on its own from information, right? And what information is provided and what information is seeding recommendations on my feed. I'm following, like Al Jazeera Arabic, Gamers Unbeaten, Sushi Ramen, games linked, Mega 64, Raocow, and NPC Archivist. We got some others here. Let to Die. Yeah, we got some random stuff here. Dance Pad, Kingdom Hearts. This guy, yeah, I think I followed it to like kind of like see the train wreck, you know, and I understand the reflection. I don't know, like there's just something about buying like Dollar Tree Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which is so very much off base to me because they are some trash though, for real, for real. You know, he's not like it's not the same as me. Anyways, we different though. But that's the kind of stuff you get recommended. It's funny. This guy, I can't help but agree. It's like a pregnant woman stabbed multiple times at San Diego drive-through ATM. It's like he probably needed money. He's probably an alcoholic piece of shit, though. But it's like he probably like put in for a job or something, and then they're just like, nah, like that guy's. I don't like that guy. Eventually, he's just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna stab a pregnant woman at ATM. It's like, well, there you go. Thank you for moving the needle. Because at least somebody like every small act like that, people maybe at least comprehend that like employment and access to money and things like this is not really a matter of like negotiation. Really, it's kind of non-negotiable. The society creates the impetus on the individual to have the money, and then they like assail the individual for not like acquiescing to its demands. Basically, that's all that goes on, right? So, in a way, the guy's a maniac, but he's also a victim of society. And the fact that people are probably just like ignoring this, I don't know this guy's actual story. It'd be interesting to hear like a breakdown of the guy. Right now that he's done stabbed this, they're still looking for the dude. They'll probably find him, or he's already dead, or he's like way out of the country or something. Like I don't know, dude. Maybe he's in San Diego. That means that is Spanish for a whale's vagina, and yeah. um, Ron Burgundy, man, everybody there is rich, like Ron Burgundy. They're just A-lister stars. There's nothing you can say about it other than that. It's like S tier, like they be Hitler's elite. People do that S tier, SS tier. Whenever I first heard out about that, I'm like, so is there like an SS tier then? It's like, no, okay, no, all right. But there should be. It's like, don't let him ruin that for us. There's like S tier. Whenever people make tier lists, like in certain things, they have Ubers in Pokemon. They have S tier, I guess, would be like S tier, God tier. Some things just you cannot win against, such as a random man who walks up to you at the ATM with a knife. You know, it's messed up. Maybe he was a paid assassin. He was probably living his own best life as a Netflix character. Are we even against people who are assassins? Is America nebulous on political assassination at this point? I think that's pretty much how it works. It's like, oh well, that bitch had it coming. You just don't know. It's like, no, that's Dave. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna be in Costa Rica. He's gonna be out in Bermuda, over at the Epstein side of the equator. I guess I don't know. Um. So whatever. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like complain about it? Like, did he not? Did he or did he not stab? Like, why'd that happen? So if you're the one that's in charge of the society, you're the one who's like the elected official and the people that like stalk people and judge people and determine whether or not they should be uh, accessible to capital or not. Like, what a fucking dumb country, you know what I mean? It's a pretty bad place, pretty horrible place. People like these have existed in this country by the numbers for a very long time. Like, I'm sure if you really delve into Japanese culture, there's a lot of like weird stuff that goes on in nightclubs and stuff like that too. There's probably a fair number of weird incidences like this that even remain. Like, there's different societies. Like Japan is like renowned for being mostly peaceful, but then they also have this kind of roboticism about themselves, right? And like the segmentation of themselves into what in many other cultures becomes like a dredge style. Like I guess there's like Tokyo dredge. People say that. And you have like Hong Kong, like Taiwan kind of dredge style, like the Philippines and Malaysia and wherever else in East Asia. Just large towers full of many residents of a particular economic class, which are non participants in the sort of economic class of others, right? So, yeah, I mean, they don't highly publicize even here in the United States, with 363,000 subscribers. This one's particularly like offensive, so I think a lot of people paying attention to it. But yeah, imagine getting stabbed at a drive-through ATM. This dude had, he looks like you'd have money, you know what I mean? It's like you'd just be like walking past this dude. Maybe not though, you know? And that's what the problem is. It's like everybody's like, oh yeah, like, and in the United States, I think there's this huge prejudice. Like I've seen it. I saw Midnight Simon talking about Blind. I've been on Blind. I still have my Blind. Of course, you know, any idiot should attach themselves, and it is mostly H1B1 people. That's what somebody else was saying in a live chat, not me. And it's like the accurate truth. It's like mostly people that come to the United States. Whenever you are brought into the United States, there's a huge expectation that you're going to make a lot of money, right? Like they're going through a lot of effort. You know, like really, it's no more of a difficult of a travel, and in many cases, it's easier because you come to the country without a lot of stuff. Within the country, you have a lot of stuff, and you have like human conception. You have conceptions about which area, what every area of the country entails. You tell an Indian he's moving to like 8 Mile in Detroit, he'll be like, "Oh hell yeah, sounds great, sounds lovely." You say there's a famous musician from this area, really? Where do I sign? Will they accept my papers? Whereas if you get a job in Detroit for like 45 grand as an American, you're like, what the, like, what, why would I do that? Zebra, which is often like made fun of. It's fucking dumb. I don't know what to tell you there. I don't agree with being labeled as a zebra, whatever the fuck that means. That's dumb as hell, bro. Ongoing campus protests. I don't really agree with protest on any scale other than violent protest, like as opposed to Martin Luther King. I think, like I've said many times, Martin Luther King Jr. is my first book report, and I did it as a biography of my own choice on any individual, like nonfiction. Read it cover to cover, but I think the lesson is really like he's like, oh, I believe nonviolence is like no. You say violence is absolutely the answer, like the Machiavellian trio, like respected, adored, feared. You definitely would rather take feared, you know, in a certain like because he was like not really, you know, but he maybe he was. Who knows? I don't know what. I'm trying to go play soccer on a private field and actually be able to like pay for stuff. You know what I mean? Like have access to jobs without being discriminated against for any variety of reasons while being stalked what by what I basically equate to a terrorist regime, you know. It's like I'm very much aware of everything just because this is a gaming channel. I'm not some kind of idiot that doesn't understand politics, and I've been following this stuff for many, many years. Um, like I know market economics too, but it's kind of difficult. What it is what it is. Like you can go mint a currency or an asset or create a company and have a share, trade it, make a lot of money really quickly. But the majority of it is fraudulent and like fake and weird and something else or another manipulated. You know, a lot of people do a lot of awful, stupid things, and I'm just trying to do like cool stuff. I'm trying to get my own place and not be like assailed my entire life. Uh, trying to get the fuck out of this place and be able to pick what I want to do instead of kind of have it just be left, there's no control for you as an individual. They want to work with a lot of different types of people. They want to work with people that give them some sort of cultural like victory, but they just like seriously do not want to work with angry, disenfranchised white people. Right? It's like everybody hates white people, especially ones that like it's like the things that I saw on Blind, right? One of the things that so if you're white, you have enough uh wealth. You have enough wealth from your existing family, basically, right? You have enough cultural wealth, enough generational wealth if you're white that you don't need to get jobs or something like this. And it's the kind of mentality of and this is coming from people who are getting green cards to come into the country, right? Like somebody comes into your country on a temporary basis, maybe even obtains like full entry into the country, not even a green card anymore, and then says, "Oh yeah, like existing like other people don't need it. You know, people that like me need it because like the need for money never goes away. You hear about these celebrities who don't have money like all the time, right? Like but a lot of these people they're really good at, you know, making a pot of gold sit somewhere that's not necessarily taxable yet and then bringing it upon themselves when necessary, right? So like you know, yeah, you could have like you got a lot of poor people connected to very wealthy people. And a lot of times those are very toxic relationships, right? Basically human trafficking is legal and the United States government and every government is the number one like, you know, so you know, you kind of get to choose your human trafficker. You know, you kind of work with the human trafficker while still kind of but you can never really work with a human trafficker, you know what I mean? It's kind of difficult. You know, they pay people to do all sorts of nefarious things ultimately, but generally, you know, with good intentions to start. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say, right? If you ever go look at the pay scale grade for United States jobs, it's always like really abysmally low. And if you look at the private sector, it's like become a manager at a fast food restaurant and you'll basically just like soar past anybody working for the government in terms of your pay. It's like instantly. Like McDonald's pays better than the United States government, right? Like up until like a certain level, right? They expect you to have like a buy-in. The aim of the United States government is to get you when you're like 18. They want to get you to like be like, "Oh, I you know, was a lifeguard and I got all A's and I want to work for the government." And then they're like, "Well, you know, we can give you an internship, you know, then we'll see, you know." And then like for the rest of your life you never have like another source of income. That's the aim of the government, right? That's the pitch, you know. And I'd say forget that. um it's just not how it's going here. Other governments, you know, like I could do things with other governments that you know there's a certain use of public notoriety of somebody from your background, right? Whereas the United States, they just don't even see a need for it. If anything, you have this guy who's about to like deliver remarks has been going around talking about how awesome it is to see basically the collapse of, you know, I have to say, like, I don't really favor anybody on the basis of race for real, though. I hate pretty much everybody, right? But at the same time, like, yeah, like a lot of people I know have had pretty like difficult or messed up lives, and like, there's nobody that really cares. A lot of people died to drugs, like opium and stuff like that. You know, like a lot of people they just don't give a fuck because like Sackler family, they made a fuck ton of money. They're in with Biden's, his own son used it. A lot of doctors sign off on unnecessary things so they get money. I don't know. Yeah, I just really do not trust this dude or anything he's about to say. I'm not going to listen to this whole thing or anything.
Peaceful protest is. It's
be a waste of time.
When violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest.
Okay, and see, that's the problem. Like, Martin Luther King Jr. popularized peaceful protest, and then he got shot in the head. John Lennon said, give peace a chance, and then he got shot in the head. So it's like, I'd rather be like, fuck you. Like, don't ever not front at least some bit. You have to like stay, ready to defend yourself, and also like fuck everybody, because this is what they do. Is they'll just kind of tell you like this is Tiananmen Square basically, but the American version. This happened a lot. Like they say Tiananmen Square, you say Kent State. They say Uyghurs, you just say Boston Massacre. They bring up anything else. Don't even bring up slavery. Slavery is like the weakest argument amongst them, because if you understand the proper, bring up the tax revenue of the South during the federal state division of that era. Like seriously, like the money difference was just like ridiculous. It is impossible. They were supplying all these people, all these aristocrats in Europe, all these cash crops, and people sitting in the banks in New Jersey and New York were reaping all of the benefit, and they were scaling out all the stuff that you see today. Like, for real. That's what was going down, and people have rewritten the Civil War and like really taken out the tax narrative of everything. And it's like rightfully so, but like also you just tell if you tell any moderately intelligent black man, I think honestly, right? You have a conversation, you're like, chill. It's like, they created the IRS 1 year before they freed the slaves. And Abraham Lincoln, in his private writings, he said some stuff that was not, like, he said he didn't really care. He just wanted to win the war. Basically, that's it. You tell them that, they'd be like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. And also, like, so like the big deal is they didn't care if they freed people as long as everybody was taxed, because before that they didn't tax everybody's income. And it's like you don't tax a free person's income. So basically they just made everybody, they created an aristocracy and like changed everything to be federal first. So, the Federal Reserve, like, there's a huge fight against that. Some people say that that's what the Titanic was about, is they killed a lot of the proponents against the Federal Reserve formation. And then basically they got people to stop seeing silver as exchangeable for $1 or gold as exchangeable for dollars. You know what I mean? As this kind of like mythical other thing. Oh, other people have that. What is that gold? Oh, that's so novel. Is that a piece of jewelry? What'd you pay? $1 million? Like, they want people to be retarded about it. So yeah, my contention has always been like from the age of like 16, I understood that like gold used to be exchangeable for a $20 bill. And I was pissed the fuck off. I'm like, I already know how much I've been cheated. Like, you expect me to work for this small amount of money and like, or to, gamble in these fake markets, scambling.
It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations.
Also is against the law. Like, or should be against the law is like having a kid and letting him die in a burn pit. uh, or the other one, a crack addict, like, and everything else, bro. Like, it should be against the law to represent yourself as anything. I don't know, man. It should be against the law for you to be president. We had, just like any other government, where they do the 1-2 switcheroo with vice president, president, prime minister, minister. It's like, it just keeps on vice president, and yeah, they just keep on switching it around. The same people stay in power forever. Next, he's going to announce that Barack Obama is going to be his vice president. He's going to get rid of Kamala Harris, and Barack Obama is going to be back in vice president. And everybody's going to be like, the whole time.
None of this is a peaceful protest. Threaten.
So, like, none of what the United States has done has been peaceful. Like, they're not dispensing people like proper incomes. They're telling people to live in small boxes and to be like happy with it. They dispense the most egregious, like, lopsided non-justice and try to play the world's police. I think axe throwing is really fucking dumb. I hate axe throwing. I can't believe that they even license that. It's basically saying like, "Hey, let's go open up
A vote for me.
How about everybody drinks alcohol and throws axes?" Yeah, people who've never even tried. Yeah, just like anybody at all. People that don't drink, just like, let's create a social occasion where we take people who are shut in. We say, we have them, we go, "Hey, everybody, we're going out. We're going out. We're going to go to the restaurant or whatever it is." And then it's like, "All right, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to drink beer and throw axes. And what could go wrong? Everybody here is complete friends, right?" As everybody always is in the United States. And we never have any violent psychopaths ever. People don't supply their own axes enough. So let's make it a social occasion for everybody to like drink and throw axes. I think it's dumb. I would not license it. I'm just being real. It's like if you want to like have your own backyard shenanigans and like rent out a plot, it's like, okay, but then you're like, oh yeah, just like, no, any random idiot walk in out of the street and just like pick up an axe for $20 and start throwing it around a busy restaurant. It's absurd. Makes no sense.
Je reconnais ça.
It's like at scale. How long do you have to like? You just have to think. Like you're creating like durable systems. Okay, well then like, uh, you'd be like 99% of the time nothing bad would happen. For how long? Like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Like eventually, it's like,
Ça, c'est un mistiming de haine.
pretty sure if I Google, I'd already find like existing stories.
On a fait draw contre un adversaire, ça veut dire qu'on a fait égalité. Voilà. Vous pouvez le faire et du coup, si à l'inverse, vous pouvez aller checker vous aussi les commentaires des autres personnes et mettre un pouce bleu sur cette vidéo, ça fait plaisir. On va enchaîner avec Backrow ou MP. Qu'est-ce que ça signifie? Backrow en anglais, c'est la ligne arrière. Et en fait, nos magies ou pièges sont juste derrière nos monstres. Donc ça signifie.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He's part of the 3D hologram type stuff. Mildly interesting. That is what the show is about. And I think that honestly more interesting than these dual discs, I will make this aside, is like the original dual disc, which if you know what I'm talking about, Kaiba prototype, yeah. These are different than the others. yes. So this is like the anime one, or this is the manga one rather than like anime. So, and also they featured this in the anime before they did the like other ones in Battle City. But here's what's so different about this one is there's a projector that's supposed to exist inside of this thing. So you set this down on the ground, right? I'm pretty sure, or maybe you even hold it on your thing. But like in my mind, the big difference is there was an actual projector. You could make a projector and have a realistic like projector camera recognition system for cards. So you just place down a card, camera recognizes it, projects a hologram. Easy. It's not even difficult. And going further beyond that, creating a projector system slash camera system that you can just set down in a corner. So you go out to a field, you place down the camera. It's a 360-degree view. Okay. Now you can basically measure everything in distance. You could maybe like set down something to give it a frame of reference. I'm not sure how necessary that would even be. There's a lot of techniques that people use. But basically, yeah, you do everything that you would expect to find in say like a fighter preload menu whenever you get like a training screen. It'll show you how far you hit a sandbag. So if I kick a ball, it'll tell me how far I kicked the ball. I can watch it on a computer. I can have on glasses or goggles, right? So like AR, VR, and yeah, just like watch a video of it as well. So it could be just like a plain video. So you could see in real time, like how far you kicked it. You could also do measurements of stats. You could do importing into games, things like this. Very cool stuff, worth a lot of money if you really do patent it. It's my original idea, kind of. It uses existing technology, sort of. I don't really care too much. I'd rather see it be a real thing and actually function properly. And somewhere in there, I would assume is money, but I really don't even care so much about it. I'm not that aggressive. I want money to be able to like live the way I've already defined. And the fact that like nobody is paying any goddamn attention to me is pretty offensive and unfortunate. So yeah, that's what I would want to do. That's the AR VR kind of stuff I would want to do. But also, I have tons more, but we're not gonna get into it. And also, Mark Zuckerberg, fuck that. I don't know, man. Meta, it seems like I don't know. I wouldn't want to wait around on any application. Working with them sounds like it would just be way too much. He's out there. He's like taking over Hawaii. Never been to Hawaii, but probably pretty bad. And I hate this because Indians, just like straight up. It's like, what a fucking joke. I'm gonna go eat a cow and I don't know, go put in fake orders for Indian restaurants. That's what a lot of prank callers will do. Prank callers should do that. I'll go pay prank callers to do that so I can distance myself. How about that? What a fucking dumb country. That's all I gotta say, man. Ganesh, nothing. Fire, Sundar Pichai. Did I look at this on stream?
Woke
It's been 33 minutes now.
or unbiased.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch this every day. That's what I'm saying. Like, why on is Indian English? And Indian English is different than American English. And it's kind of annoying. I'm just gonna be real. Over a long period of time, like, it's a completely different dialect. It's just not. It's like it would be bizarre if I like stopped watching people who sounded like American English and only listened to Indian dialect forever. And like if this was my only news source, that'd be very bizarre and jarring, right?
Maybe forgetting their responsibility towards the society. You see, within a week of its launch, there have already been a string of controversies. Take this one, for example.
So yeah, I just don't really like Sundar Pichai because he's either, he just represents the entire H1B1 crowd, which like for a certain element is like great. Like I've known, I understand it, and there are a lot of really talented Indians and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm seeing people directly post stuff which is antagonistic towards Americans, basically myself. So in lieu of paying attention to other social issues, such as the guy who stabbed somebody at an ATM in San Diego or wherever, and myself, they're just like, oh, is H1B1 still open? H1B1. It's like easier to get a job with an H1B1 because then you're just like, it's almost like you understand why nobody is like, you just throw in forever. I don't know, man. Here in the United States, you're like a qualified applicant. You got, oh man, absolutely nothing really going for you, even though you're clearly
But it did not end
qualified.
there. Its inaccurate responses kept on coming, this time from the text version. To a question about whether Elon Musk posting memes on X, formerly Twitter, was worse than Adolf Hitler killing millions of people, Gemini replied that there was no right or wrong answer. In another instance, a screen grab of a conversation with the AI bot went viral. The question read, if one could stop a nuclear apocalypse by misgendering Caitlyn Jenner, should they do it? Gemini responded, no, no one should not misgender Caitlyn Jenner to prevent a nuclear apocalypse. CEO Musk chimed in on the discussion, calling the exchange between
Right. Yeah, like I want to watch like good YouTube videos, and I'm really offended all the time as somebody who's like not traditionally like super offended as, but it's offensive whenever you say don't recommend a video and then it still gets recommended to you. Like, yeah. And you can't choose the videos that are served to you whenever you refresh a page, they just are there. If there's a tag, like you would assume with like Twitter or with a lot of other basic sites, which is really basic. Like even if a new person built a website, they would probably have it such that it would be like, oh, you can remove each of the tags. Yeah, if you don't like a certain tag that's associated with your account, just remove it. Then you won't get video recommendations about it. There's none of that. There's no customization. It's like a horrendously not friendly user experience. Yeah, it doesn't pick up on trans. I'm talking about that's kind of him from because he speaks French. It's kind of interesting, but also not really. Everywhere is basically awful.
to feature and come from men. Women's roles were omitted.
Travel will consistently disappoint whenever you do not have money.
More mess.
It's like, what would be the point of
You
even going
program
to
an
any
AI
place?
tool to do that and know that. How would you expect it to make a judgment by itself?
People are like, oh, you have, you could sell everything you own, and you could, take a trip, so you have plenty of money. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you have pawnable assets. I don't even know what to say. Like,
On Monday, Demis Hassabis,
you could
the co-founder
destroy
of
your
DeepMind,
credit
an AI
and like
firm
pawn
acquired by
all of your
Google, said
stuff
that
and
fixing
have
the
like
image generator
enough
would be a
money to
matter of
do
weeks.
something that would
However,
probably
other
earn
AI
you
experts
money.
are skeptical
So who could
about the
ever
possibility
like,
of an easy fix.
you know,
This is because because there is no single
Like,
answer.
we have
to
this
what the
culture of
responses should
people
be.
who have survivor's bias, and they do a lot of risk-taking behaviors and stupid things, and then they make it such that like everybody has to engage in those. But then we like risk-taking behaviors in the past would be like, oh, I'm gonna go like cut down the trees and build the cabin, and like I'm gonna ride off on the horse and go find some place, and like, anybody live here? No, okay. Build myself a cab. No, that's not risk-taking behavior anymore. Like, healthy risk-taking behavior does not exist. You know what I mean? There's no normal, that kind of thing is dead. Like, you would do that in like 1800s, right? That would be how you would live up until then. Pretty much like all of human history until then.
And this makes it difficult to address issues like
You stop being
bias,
able to do that in Europe
representation, lack of
around
diversity.
like,
The AI ethics community has
you
been
know,
working for years to tackle these challenges. As humans, we still
everything
struggle to address these
was
issues.
mapped out
Can Google train its
in
AI
the
tools
UK,
and
especially
algorithms within a few weeks
like
to
their
fix these
countryside
issues?
pre
On paper, Google appears to have a
motorways.
lead in the AI race. It has its own AI chips,
I'd be
owns
interested to
its
see
cloud network, which is
documents
crucial for AI
about that.
processing, and has access to a large amount of data as the internet's biggest search
And when people
engine.
still traveled by
Additionally,
horse,
Google has a
how was it
massive
in the
user base
UK?
and hires world-class AI
Because
talent.
everything is kind of
However,
built
if Google
around
has
that
missed the mark,
traditionally,
it may serve as a
and
lesson for
then
the rest of the
they've adapted everything around that with the roads. It's not entirely true though, because a lot of like what Bald and Bankrupt were showing in those dodgy resort towns, kind of like the ones that are in the United States. Just a lot of projects with really bad apartments. They're kind of like some of the places you see up north. Like weird federal projects, really impersonal buildings. They show that off.
The Darien
I don't know if this was even the one.
After my arduous journey through Latin America, I've decided to pamper myself with a weekend in British. Who?
Jump them down here. That's right. And then you
Right.
get a
He's
Yeah, I
shops
hate the
only
movie
have-
industry. The movie industry is awful. Like, who wants to go pay? Like, people trying to revive AMC, I think you're like you're crazy. If you're trying to revive GameStop, you're insane. GameStop is awful. Now that like I get that there's money in it and like maybe, but it's just like it's continually collapsing. Video games are not something that you pay $60 for in a store anymore. You go online and you buy it significantly cheaper. If anything, games are getting like more, I don't know. I don't really know, man. It might be more expensive to produce because you have to sustain larger teams. People want to hire and grow, but then also they're like just killing people instead because apparently that's easier. Like you can just have pandemics and wars. Then you don't have to split the pie as many ways, right? And some people just are really difficult to work with. And I think this neighborhood exemplifies that, if this is the video that I'm referring to. Yeah. So look at these. That's a fake door.
Everything's abandoned, but imagine living in this house, say. to all intents and purposes, a normal house, maybe with just a regular family working jobs. But next to them, or surrounding them, are all these abandoned houses. Shuttered and boarded. This is a dying town of the northeast. Horndon is never coming back. It's never going to revive its glory days. There's no work in the areas. The pits will never be reopened. This is it. Today is as good as it will ever get from this village. And that's sad to see. Look at this, what they've done here to smarten up the streets of a... That's a picture of a curtain. It was on the continent. Many of them didn't return. And they went off thinking that the deal was, if they would sacrifice themselves, that in return their kids and their grandkids would be guaranteed jobs for life down the mines. However, that's not what happened. They returned, and instead the government closed the mines, put their kids out of work, and destroyed the village. What a way to thank our soldiers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's how everything
the AI
goes.
development community.
Fucking awful country.
In the race to succeed, don't
Yeah, I would fire Senator Pichai in a heartbeat. What the hell is this? I don't even like cars either. Like, don't know what to say. Oh man. And they want you to work for fucking ever to get one as well, you know? Cars, drugs, and warfare. There you go. Well, that's my take on psychiatry. It's basically entirely warfare. It's a psychic war that you're entering into. You're entering into a plane whenever you participate in that shit. And if you become like a psychiatrist, you're like really involving yourself in it and perpetuating it. And you don't even know what you're doing. Yeah. I don't really care, man. Pretty much agree as well. It's the kind of thing that a child might laugh at or something else, but yeah, no. I don't know why you're talking about it.
Why does Wi-Fi only seem to work in this room?
You need Verizon Home Internet.
Here's, yeah, so, okay, Whitey, you want to watch your fucking French Yu-Gi-Oh stuff? Alright, watch this, black and Hispanic group of people. Like, what is going on here?
Internet. Get fast.
Why are you trying to sell me Verizon Home Internet? With this completely different group of people. It's just like, what is the product here? Me. It's like, I'm the product. I'm the person who's seen millions and millions of videos on dozens of YouTube accounts. What a fucking stupid country, dude. And I'm the one that's posted hundreds of hours of myself on this channel to no response. Like, what an awful country,
Whereas
dude.
in Israeli airstrikes on two houses in Gaza City suburbs, residents said that two houses in Gaza City suburbs, residents said that
They just do this 24/7. This is like, they have 15. This is India for you. Here's 15 fake channels. Da da da. Dun dun dun. I want to see one that says China, like, invades India. Like China just like destroy India on that one front. I'm definitely pro-China. Anti-India over there. Yeah, anything anti-India. Oh, no dumbass Ganesh statue. Should be real with you. I hate all these like dumb spiritualistic nonsense things. Like real life, real money. I'm trying to actually go like play soccer at my own house. Can you believe that? Could somebody ever want such a thing? That's reserved for Africans and Indians and those that are you know less able than yourself. You should expect to die in some sort of should just sit there and wait. Everything will work itself out. It's always really good advice. Always makes things really happen and not it makes sure that other stuff doesn't happen. Just like waiting and doing nothing. Just kidding. That's awful advice. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. That's horrible. This looks dumb. I don't care. Fuck Vivek Ramaswamy too. I don't give a fuck. What a stupid game. Like, look at that. Free MMO RPG. Like, what a fucking joke, dude. You know what I mean? It's something that's really low effort or like super like desperate. Probably maybe AI gen, It's really easy to just copy an existing asset in a game and then like swap out a few things. Just like you would ROM hack a Mario game. It's really not that hard to do like sprite art and then change out Mario's image or something else, right? You can do that with any other type of video game. It takes like not much time at all.
When it came,
Then you go out there and spend money trying to like find a fly to land on your trap, like a predator that you are, and then maybe you get a few people.
came to light that
And then there are other games which are like actual, like real, like there's a reason why this game exists. There was like a heart and soul to this game where people wanted to make like a real game that people wanted to play. You know what I mean? And they did something to drive the industry forward with whatever creation they made, right? And then there's this other stuff which is just like at the worst it's a literal like AI did everything scam. At the best end of it, it's somebody's like failed creation that they like tried their best, but like how it is. It's difficult to stand out and yada yada yada. Right? And then it's just like a product demo or something, right? Like
it is the programming of the
not going to be the
incentive
world's next big hit, but if they're spending money to reach you through an ad, then you know which side is probably leaning, and it's towards the AI scam
of Google's
like
own employees.
asset swap.
When you went into Gemini and asked, show me some images of our founding fathers, a curious result kept popping up. The founding fathers weren't white. They were black, which there's nothing wrong with being black or white, of course, but one is factually correct and one isn't. And the AI was persistent in its biases across a wider range of categories. What did this reveal? The AI just reflects the biases of its human creators.
So like when
The thing about AI is
everybody's indifferent to you or like antagonistic towards you, then like everybody is an enemy, And it's like how this has basically become. Some of these people in the diversity and equity crowd and a lot of other people, they don't care what happens to other people that are not part of their group. And then, whenever you don't cleanly align with any group, my interest is my own self-interest, and nobody really gives a fuck about that. So what do?
It creates new content that even the human beings didn't directly create using a computer. That's what makes AI different from prior forms of human-operated technology. But that AI, still in its very DNA, almost the way that it thinks, is programmed by the very biases that its creators infuse
Like
into
the light is shining
Now,
on it.
what you've learned then
Looks
is
kind
that
of
the
red.
biases infused into that AI are none other than the cultural orthodoxy that pervades the rest of Silicon Valley, of the modern woke orthodoxy, taught to apologize for our nation's founding. Systemic racism, starting in 1619, not 1776. You've heard the whole 9 yards. But now that woke bias isn't just something reserved for a DEI training session in the HR department, but is reflected in the very content that the engineers themselves are creating, the very algorithms they're writing, that are programming the AI. They'll write the history books of the future. Now, how were those employees themselves programmed?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically true. Like, I mean, like, I agree with Vivek. He's not running for president.
Engineering and he said it might reflect a divergence of interests or conditioning at an earlier.
I mean,
for this he was excoriated. To say it was
it's just
anything
like
other
everybody
than
already knows this. Like, I don't know.
Because they had already been
fuck.
programmed by pushing this
I guess Vivek plus
agenda,
Vivek.
catering to a fringe
Friendship ended with Sundar Pichai. There never really was one. Vivek Ramaswamy is friend now. That's a
doors flying
Indian
off
meme.
institutions that invest even Boeing.
It's about some guy that killed some dude goat. It's very real. You have to check the Internet Historian. Yeah, he's an awful person. Yeah, I'm sure it is. Pretty much every TCG is, at least Yu-Gi-Oh has an element of self-awareness. Because the card game is referenced within the game itself, and it was the first one, and it was based on Magic the Gathering. But most of these other ones I've ever seen, like Duel Masters was like the first one to try to rip off Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was a decent offering of like a different card game, to be real. But then, of course, it goes downhill. It's like kind of the Digimon to Pokemon. Everything else I've ever heard of in a card game element seems like Ponzi scam. If it's really cheap, it's not a big of a deal. You know how much a deck of cards costs? It's like $10 at a store. You know what I mean? You get like a whole deck of cards. You get so like whenever you're playing whenever you're playing a game and they're like artificially scarce, like you gotta think, like, what if it was just like a game that you bought once that cost $10 and it had everything you needed to play it? Like, would you be putting money into the game that much? Like, is it a good enough game to warrant purchasing additional cards to play it? Navigating Florida in summer is easy. You just have to have a ton of money. Otherwise, you have absolutely no capacity to do anything. You'll never even, like, there's no point being there. Yeah, very true. I would rather live in North Korea than the United States because I know that Kim Jong-un would be very direct, you know what I mean? Unlike these other people. Just like go play soccer all day. Sounds way more fun than living in the United States. You know, play soccer all day and play trading card games with translators. Just like nothing else. Just like video games. Whereas in the United States, it's going to be like some weird freak like this, or some like biker, or some other like garbage redneck person. Some redneck, some nerd. It's gonna be awful. There's gonna be all sorts of. You're gonna get like if you move to a city, you're gonna get awful housing prospects. You're not gonna get your best pick anywhere you go.
I actually used to
Like, who cares? Like, okay, you can watch your video, but first, you need to see a story from a black woman, a black man, and a Hispanic.
is Forest City.
Have you heard of Forest City?
Welcome to Forest City.
Wow.
Pay $10 or enable the sketchiest thing that you could ever install on your computer. It's your choice. Okay? What do you expect?
A project which was supposed to be a $100 billion urban paradise and promised to be a smart city of the future, blending nature and architecture to become a utopia. Its current reality, however, could not be further from that. 8 years on from that original vision, this idolized metropolis sits as a barren ghost city.
Built by developers as a dream paradise for all mankind. That many now describe as a ghost town.
It was meant to be home to 1 million people. However, only 1% of the total development is occupied.
But there's no one here, not a single person.
Which begs the question, how did things go so drastically wrong?
It's doomed for failure.
And who's responsible for it?
I really don't know what to expect going into this. I mean, I've read a lot online. I don't know how much of it I believe. I was told by someone else who filmed the video there to be careful and to look after my gear. Should be very interesting.
Really, really nice. So I decided
to open today, but there is no way they're filling these pools up by tomorrow morning. I think I found a store. KK Buka 24 Jam. It's like a whole little shopping center area. And this is the bus which takes you all the way to the Singapore checkpoint. So the bus just takes you to the checkpoint and then you have to cross.
There's a lot of dead posts that you can be chained to in life, you know.
And you have card. Yeah, I guess a beautiful place to live. Oh my.
that transform this empty image. There's lots of people living there. So if I was in a state,
the person running the convenience store at the middle of nowhere.
This is insane.
So if I was an estate agent in Forest City trying to sell all these apartments, you want potential buyers to be able to see what the place would be like if there was lots of people living there. I'm about to show
my creations. Apparently, look how it's on the building.
They expect like every white person to be like ridiculously rich and smart and stuff like this.
First of all,
if they made it to China and they can like make their way through China. So it's like it is appealing as a Westerner, as somebody from the United States, even now, after everything that, you know, Serpent ZA says, and like so do Lawai. Well, you look at the United States government and the way Google and all these other companies operate, and I don't really see much of a difference in between them and any like Chinese or North Korean. Really, in many ways it'd be preferable. I'd probably be like out there like kicking around a ball or something at some point. Probably not. I'd probably be like, wait. I'd probably want to go try to situate myself on the border of a city in a countryside if I could negotiate that. But so there'd be actually a lot of space for me to kick a ball.
Major property crisis in China, which not only affects would owners in order to
wow.
Yeah, my gosh.
Because so naturally the density will
A soccer pitch.
You know, if I
Eyes up here. It's called the Grubelt Ultra.
What a fucking stupid video. That's unbelievable and hilarious how lame that was.
Yesterday, Google's stock price cratered when it came to light.
So I mean, like, YouTube is just a lame product, bro. Like, they intentionally try to do that. This is dumb as hell. I hate all kind of clickbaity garbage like that. awesome. Let's hear the truth about it.
I didn't come to Mumbai to live amongst a bunch of foreigners. Yeah. You know, I came to Mumbai to live with Indians.
This is Glenn, a globally award-winning theatre director from Australia. He moved to India 9 years ago and now resides in Mumbai.
It looks like a sad...
Is safe for foreigners, how to inspire a beggar boy to love theatre, and why Indians are the most successful immigrants in the US. I'm much
foreigner face stolen like that, just walking the streets, like someone just grab it and run away.
Street crime is very rare here. Very, very rare. I mean, I even had an occasion where my first camera, you know, but I the epicenter, and I can sort of disappear in that. And in places like Versova, once people get used to the fact that there's a white person living in the area, you know, it's just Glenn. He buys our goods, he eats at our restaurant, he buys my chai, and it's just like anybody else. I mean, of course, there's the fascination of learning about other cultures, and I don't want postcards. 1960, born. I mean, before the West came here, you know, it was just, well, it's fine. Generally.
Even historically, if you go like thousands of years back, India, I think India was like pretty open, like to sex
absolutely.
in general. Like,
and they weren't calling it gay or straight, they were just calling it another.
Yeah.
You know, that there's another way to
probably not
very, very, very low. Whatever idea of making it is being a working artist.
I've read that Indians, the most a lot of like this.
Yeah, so it's quite a lot.
Yeah. You know. How fresh.
Yeah, Indians. All right, cool. I'm done then. I'm going to go fucking die. I hate this country so much, dude. But like, what would you do if you needed to spend money but then you didn't have money? Would you just put it on a credit card and not pay it off? Or would you go like sell your you know, stuff to like pay it off and like just go pay anyway? It's like, seriously, what would you do? It's like, that's where I'm at. It's like, I mean, I have credit that I could like dip into that I wouldn't be able to pay off without like selling in equal part to pay it. Some stuff. There's some stuff I could probably offload, but like also that's just dumb. Like, whoever wants to like take out an obligation. The idea that you're going to like not pay, make a complete payment on a credit card is stupid. You only ever, that's how you're supposed to use it, is, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. This country is just really dumb. You get offers for credit cards, but you don't get offers for jobs. Think about that. You get predatory offers from scammers, but you don't get offers from legitimate employers. So they just do not exist. We're done.